The right screen.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Swagatam. Today is Stiravasarah Shanivasarah Dinankaha. Today is the April 23rd. So Trayovimshatitamaha Dinankaha. Prathama Bhagaha Vyakarana Shiksha. Mangalashanam Kriyate. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Bhautame Bhora Mama Muddhara. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varandane. Shri Rama Nama Varandana Onnama Iti. Ata Shri Maheshwara Sutrani. A Iun Rulruk. E Ong. Ayauch. Hayavarat, Lanya, Nyamanga, Na, Nam, Javang, Gadadash, Jabagadash, Kapha, Cha, 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 Tav, Ka, Pai, Sha, Sha, Sar, Hal, Iti Mahasha Sutrani. Okay, so now today starts a new topic. So, I am Nutana Vishayaha, Sumuhurto Astu, so it will be a good start, we hope. For the next year and a half or so, we're going to be talking about Tingantam Prakaranam. Tingantam Prakaranam. As you know, in this language, we have already seen the sutram, Supting Antam Padam. Supting Antam Padam. So, a Padam, the Padam is a word which is hard to translate into English. We can say like a completed word might be a good translation. So, Padam is Supting Antam Padam. Of course, that's not the only sutram which gives the Padasanya. We have already seen Swadeshwa Swarnamasthane. But still, Supting Antam Padam is what can be called as a completed word. So, Subandha Prakriya Asma Viradhita Sankshepena, we have done, in brief, Subandha Prakriya, how to call declining of the nouns, adjectives, nominal stems, Pratipadikani, what Panini calls. Today, we're going to start with Tingantam Prakaranam, Tinganta Prakriya. So, what is this Tingantam? Basically, verbal forms, verbs, conjugation of verbs. This is going in the, again, the Siddhanta Kaumudi order. So it's going to be, this is going to take us to about the halfway point, roughly speaking, of Vyakaranam. After this year and a half, I hope then after that, on your own, you can also start learning enough. We already done a lot of groundwork in the Subandha Prakriya. We've done the Guna Sanya, Vriddhi Sanya, Samprasaranam, Angam, Pratyaha, all these are very familiar to us. We will be using all of that. What is Pratyaha? So now, next year and a half, we'll try to, again, do in brief. We cannot do every sutram in this class, but hopefully give you enough that later on you can on your own fill in the blanks. And the backbone of this class is the daily examples. Please follow them every day. A lot of work is being done by a lot of people. Radha, Kumud, Yulia, a lot of people doing a lot of work. So please, these daily exams which come to every day are going to, that is the backbone of this class. Because, class you only have an hour and a half, limited time we have. But if you can follow these examples here, so you can, do that. Even though I go a little bit fast in the class, but particularly this class, we have next 3 weeks off now. You have 3 weeks off after this. So you'll get a lot of examples, so don't worry if some new terms coming today. But like when we started Subandha Prakriya, we had, what is Sup, what is the Sarvanama Sthanam, what is Bhasanya, what is the Padasanya, all those were new. But I hope by this time you have enough practice with them that, they are going to be part of your portfolio. So similarly, today we'll have some new sanyas coming, but this is only groundwork we're going to say, So Adhara Bhutani Sutrani, Adhara Bhutani, because they're going to be used almost every class for the next year and a half, along with examples at least for the next 2 years. So today we'll try to build the foundation. We'll try to maybe get to 1 or 2 forms if we can. So let us start with that. Before I even start, I want to mention one thing about we have talked about Siddhanta Kaumudi. We refer to Siddhanta Kaumudi. Basically, we are following Siddhanta Kaumudi. See, any grammar book you hold in your hand is Siddhanta Kaumudi. In one way, shape, form, or another, it's Siddhanta Kaumudi, basically. So we are also doing Siddhanta Kaumudi only, but we're doing it in some abridged way. So you had Siddhanta Kaumudi, some Siddhanta Kaumudi, we give some quotations in the examples. also, the Kashika order, which is the commentary on the Ashtadhyayi. So these two we have some familiarity. Now, starting today comes a third book called the Madhaviya Dhatu Vritti, because that deals with dhatus. So dhatus. Where does the dhatu adhikara start from? Chapter number 3 is concerned with dhatoho. There's 3 times comes dhatoho in chapter 3. Please make a note of these. 3 times comes dhatoho. There's dhatoho for only one sutram, 317, which is dhatoho karmanaha saman kartikadichchaya va. It's not today's topic. I'm just pointing to you where the word dhatoho comes. It's going to be important for us for the next year and a half. Dhatoho. So 317 has a dhatoho. Then we have already seen 3191 has a dhatoho, because we have seen the sutram kridating, which comes in that dhato adhikaraha. Now in between, so 3191 also has a dhatoho. Now in between there is another dhatoho called at 3122 onwards. 3122 dhatoho. Dhato reka chokhala dehe. Kriya samabhihare yang. So why does, so this is this adhikara, this is an adhikara, by the way. The 317 is not adhikara. It's only one ekam meva sutram. Yasmin dhatoho iti vidiyate, iti padam drishyate. Only one sutram there. So 317, then 3122 onwards it goes. Now why does Panini put a second dhatoho in 3191? We already covered this in the examples, because there is this 3192, 93, 94, Panini wants only the second dhatoho adhikaraha to carry these 3 sutras in it, which is Sutra Trayam, Tatra Padam Saptami Stham, to the thing which you already seen, and Vasarupostriyam. So this is just a background for you. There are 3 dhatoho placed in third adhyaya. So first one is 317 for one sutram only. Then 3122 starts the dhatoho adhikaraha. That adhikara ends in 3190, starts a new dhatoho adhikara with 3191. Again, why do you have a new one? Because of these 3 rules over here. Panini wants them to be applicable only in this dhatoho adhikara, which starts from 3191. But bottom line is that from 3122 to the end of chapter 3, there is dhatu adhikara running. First one and then second one. Okay. Now this book I'm telling you about is the Madhaviya Dhatu Vritti. I always say, if you had a third hand, in the third hand you should have the Dhatu Vritti. Because you have Kaumudi in the right hand, Ashtadhyayi in the left hand, or vice versa, as you like it. But then if you have the third hand, or maybe on Shirasyapi, you should have the Dhatu Vritti. It's a fantastic work of Sayanacharya, who's also called Madhava. With Madhava and Sayanacharya, there's some controversy there. They might be brothers, they might be the same person, whatever it is. It's a very authoritative book on everything to do with dhatus. So whether for each, it covers every dhatu, the dhatu patha, and in the very first line or two, Madhava will give the Tinganta Prakriya. So what we are doing now in the class of the next year and a half, you can check all your answers and everything from the Madhavya Dhatu Vritti. And there's a very good edition of that published by the Ramlal Kapoor Trust. It's a very well edited edition by the Vijayapal Vidyavaridhi. So he's very fantastic edition. So one more time, Madhavya Dhatu Vritti, published by Ramlal Kapoor Trust, edited by, I think it's Vijayapal Vidyavaridhi. Please buy that book. I think some copies are available in the ashram at the Gurukulam. If you go to India, buy it and keep it with you. For the next year and a half, you're going to be using that, referring that. And it's a very, very nice authoritative treatise on dhatus. Okay. So having told, like last class I told you about the Avyaya portion. These are all very useful reference books. Just makes, they have the trick in this language is to have the right books. It really is. It really is that way. And you want to have the right books because have books which have less errors, and okay. So like last class I gave you the Avyaya Kosha. That also is useful for the Avyaya Prakaranam. This one is the Dhatu Vritti. Okay. So let's start today's class. Let's see, what is this Tingantam Prakaranam is what is called as conjugated verbal forms. Like gacchati, pashyami, drishyate, jigamishati, labhyate, bhavishyati. All these are called what's called verbs. Now this is the heart of Panini's Shastram. So Paninehe Shastrasyedam Hridayam iti amanye. It's the heart of Panini because the Tinganta Prakriya involves interactions. It is Angakaryani Vidyante, and there are also, the Shilakaraha, and it has it. So it kind of gives you a good display of the Panini engine, how it works, how the Panini engine works. That's number one. Second thing is that there is the Ekating Vakyam. This is the heart of the sentence. If you get the Tingantam Padam in the Vakyam, then you can you can fill in the other gaps. Even if you don't get all the other gaps, it's okay. You got the action part. This is the action part, where the action takes place. And the third thing is very important, is without Panini, Sutrani, Panini Shastram Vina, right? You cannot get the Naipunyam in the Tinganta Prakriyaya. Naipunyam Durlabham, Prakriyayam, Naipunyam Durlabham. Because how many verbal forms are you going to memorize? You cannot memorize, maybe it's me Subantam, okay, I can memorize maybe Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha. That's not recommended, but maybe you can do it. But how many you can memorize over here? It's just impossible to memorize books and not necessary. So this is where I say from the beginning, I know many people drop out because when you say Panini, people drop out of the class. But when you come here, you realize that the investment that you made, the investment that you have made now is going to pay some benefits, pay some dividends now for you. Because without Panini Vyakaranam, without, short of memorizing everything, it's going to be very difficult to master Tinganta Prakaranam. So, as I said, this is going to be the central part of our study in Vyakaranam. After this, you're going to do some, Krudanta Prakaranam and Taditas, which will be like adding some details. So let us focus for the next year and a half with all of us, with the examples, and with Ravi is there to help us. Ravi has already done the Tinganta Prakaranam, so he will also be watching out. So let us start. And the first sutram that we want to look at is this: what is a dhatu? What is a dhatu? So we'll start with that. Now they say, where does the buck stop in the language? Then we say a word like Bhagavan. Where does Bhagavan come from? This comes from the Bhag plus Vadu Pratyaya. So Tadhita form. Okay, fine. Where does Bhaga come from? Bhaga comes from probably maybe dhatu like maybe bhaj with some pratyaya on that. Now, where does bhaj come from? There is no answer to that. The dhatu partha is where the buck stops. So why is bhu means to be? There is no answer to that. There is no derivation of that, because that's the way the Vedic mantras are. That in the mantras, in the Vedas, they found that dhatu bhu was meant to be, and so on. Gam is to go. So now, why does gam mean to go? You cannot derive that. So these are the basic building blocks of the whole language. The whole, even though right now we're talking only about the Tingantam Prakaranam, later on when we do the Krudanta Prakaranam, participles, Krudanta, Krudanta Prakaranam, participles, we're using the same dhatus again. So please pay close attention to the dhatus. So far we haven't looked at dhatus. We assumed the Pratipadikam. We took Rama Shabdaha. We didn't ask how Rama came from. The Shabda Rama came from, Rama Shabda. We didn't say dhatu was Ram, did that. We may have referred in brief. We didn't really go into those details. But now, we're going to go to the basic heart of the language, which are the dhatus. So this bhu-vadayo dhatavaha, bhu-vadayo. Now, this is a little bit of a strange sutram, because what is bhu-vadayo? Because if we say bhu-adaya, it can become vadayaha. If we say bhu-adi, it becomes vadi. So this is bhu-vadayo. Let's look at the vritti of this. This is first in 3. This is Sanya Sutram. In 131 comes Bhu Vadayo Dhatavaha. Bhu Vadayo Dhatavaha. Bhu Vadayo Dhatavaha. So those items which are in this list, which is called Dhatu Pataha, gets the Sanya of Dhatu. So unless you get the Dhatu Sanya, you cannot use any of the Sutrani which you're going to see today and of course for the next year and a half, which have dhatu requirements. So only a dhatu can take those pratyayas. So now we need to know what a dhatu is. Where can we find these? So this sutram defines bhu vadayo dhatavaha. So kriya vachinaha vadayaha dhatu sanyasyo. So there is this collection, list of terms called bhu, etc. What's called dhatu patha. You'll be seeing it a lot So today I'll just give you just very, very brief thing. Dhatu Pada is like a Gana Pada. Like it's a Gana basically. It's a Gana. The appendix to the, it is an appendix to Ashtadhyayi. It is an appendix to the Ashtadhyayi called Dhatu Pada. List of these basic, what can we call verbal roots in English. I think we have 2 of them online over here. Just talking to Ravi before the class. We have, this is in the Panini links page. If you go down here, you have 2 Dhatu Pathas here. We may add another one maybe. So this is Dhatu Patha PDF and then Dhatu Patha in the Akaradi Suchi. So this Dhatu Patha PDF here is in the Dhatu Patha order. Like first Dhatu is Bhu Sattayam and so on it goes. Eda Vruddhau, Spardha Sangharshe, so on. This is a Dhatu Patha. The Dhatu Patha is worth memorizing. At least be familiar with it. Be familiar with it. So just like Sutra Patha, just like Sutra Vritti, just like the Vartikani, the one thing you want to try to be very familiar, if not memorize, is Dhatu Patha. So one more time, the Sutra Patha, Vritti, maybe from Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kashika, probably Siddhanta Kaumudi might be better now, and then the Vartikani, and then Dhatu Patha. So Dhatu Patha gives you the basic building blocks. If you know Dhatu Patha, you will ask a question. Well, how many Dhatus in Dhatu? You will ask a question. How many Dhatus in Dhatu Patha? Roughly 2,000. Roughly 2,000. Roughly 2,000. But the good news is that many of them are not used today. In fact, almost half of them are not used. So they are not to be found anywhere. It's a very, very, very interesting thing. That many of these dhatus are not to be found anywhere. Of course, we cannot claim that Panini has made up these dhatus from nowhere. That gives you an idea of how much of the language has been lost. So without upasarga, just so basic upasarga is pradeha and become upasarga kriya yoge. Not like upasargas right now. We're talking about dhatu means no upasarga. Means shuddha dhatu. There are roughly 2,000 of them. Roughly 2,000. So but many of them are not used, which means there are only a few hundred which are really used. And not only that, there are, if you speak in Indian language, like Hindi, Telugu, Bengali, Gujarati, maybe not Tamil, but anything, Malayalam if you speak, Telugu if you speak, a lot of these words are already known to you. They're already known to you. So it's not that hard but you should make the effort to pick out the dhatu from that, what you're speaking, to pick out the dhatu from that. So Dhatu Patha. This Dhatu Patha is a list of terms which are the basic building blocks, which is called a dhatu. And again, how are they derived, where they came from, that is given to us now. It is given to us. From the Vedas they came. They were derived, they were discerned from the Vedas by Panini or whoever. So that's how they came. And in the Dhatu Patha also, then this also gives a meaning. But just a caution for you right now is that dhatu can, dhatu nam bahava arthaha sambhavanti. So there can be many meanings of a dhatu. So if the Dhatu Patha gives one meaning, doesn't mean we should stick to that. There can be many possible meanings. So Dhatu Pathe kevalam pradhana artha diyate. This is only the main meaning is given Dhatu Patha. There will be many. So don't be stuck to this one meaning. So Bhu Sattayam. So again, of course, English also Bhu is to be. So Bhu Sattayam is the first dhatu, Bhu Sattayam. We're going to be looking at this in every class now. Just want to give you just a brief, only introduction barely today. So keep this one handy. You have the PDF. When we give you examples for the daily examples, you will also be talking about these with the Artha Nirdesha. So we'll give you in the examples we'll tell you like Bhu Sattayam, Eda Vruddhau, Spardha Sangharshe, and so on. So one more Dhatu Patha which we have online over here is in the Akaradi Suchi. This one is searchable. It's searchable. So you can have it gives you, let me briefly tell you what this means over here. Let's look at the same Dhatu Bhu in this Dhatu Patha, which is now reordered in the alphabetical order. In the alphabetical order here you have Bhu Sattayam. So it's in the Bhvadi Ganaha. What are these Ganas? We're going to talk about them later. So don't worry about this right now. There are 10 Ganas, but today let's assume that these are going to be explained later to you. What is Bhavadi Gana? What is Churadi Gana? What is Divadi Gana? There are 10 Ganas. So what is the specialty? Why do we have 10 Ganas? We'll come to that. Today we're only starting with that. So this says there are this same Dhatu Bhu comes in 2 Ganas over here. It says one Bhu is over here, which is of course the most commonly used. Another Bhu is here. One practical tip for you is when you look at the dictionary of Apte. dictionary of apte. There, under he will give you in a dhatu might be in many ganas, but the one in which he gives you the most examples is the most popular one of that dhatu. So when it gives dhatu in the first gana, there will be many examples apte will give. Usage, abhidhanam, what's your usage? So the churadi gana will be hardly any. So this one will have the most examples. So what this telling is bhadi gana. It's a said dhatu, which we have not learned that right now. So don't worry about this right now. There's something called the idagamaha, which we'll learn much later. So don't just ignore it. This can take an idagama. This can allow an idagama. Excuse me. Can allow an idagama. Don't worry about the details right now. We'll come to it later. It's a parasmai padidhatu. It will take a pratyaya which is parasmai padam. Now what is parasmai padam? We'll come to it later on today in the class today. What is idagamaha? Not today. Maybe in a few months we'll come to that. Okay. And this is of course it gives in what gana it is. It's in the bhadi ganaha. It is dhatu in the bhadi ganaha. It is a said dhatu and it's parasmai padam. And it's all new to you today, so don't worry, they'll become, but I just want to tell you what these are, what these three designations are, and gives a meaning. Bhu sattayam. And it belongs to this is the meaning of the dhatu, just one meaning is given. Now when did the meaning come? It's also controversial. Let's see, why are these anudatta, swarita, maharshi in the dhatu partha? They are not in the online version of Ashtadhyayi. Yeah, these swaras in the dhatu partha. What happens is that Yulia asked a question, this dhatu partha swaras. So what happens, Yulia, is that in the dhatu partha there are captions. The dhatu partha, there are captions in dhatu partha. See, we're going to see today that, the swaras means the intonation on the vowels which belong to the dhatu and or the it letter will have some implications for us. We're going to see that shortly. We'll see it shortly. So this dhatu partha, some of them have these swaras indicated on there. Like see, this is so anudatta swara, right? But there are also what are called as their captions. See, this says there are like section breaks, like bhu sattayam. This is a udatta dhatu, prasmai bhashaha. We'll come to that what these mean. So even though your dhatu partha, Yulia, may not have the swaras indicated, they will have captions on them. They will have captions. At the end of each section, they'll be marked with something. They'll tell you what they are. And we'll explain that when we go along. So even if you're looking at the dhatu partha, which does not have the swaras on that, don't worry. Don't worry. There will be section kind of breaks. See, for example, Yulia tells here, iti edhadayaha udattaha anudatta itaha. It's a good example. So even if you did not have these swaras marked in dhatu partha, this section ending comment at the end of the section, every section end will have a comment there. That edhadayaha. So starting from edha vruddhau back here, there will be, this is a section in the dhatu partha. It's a section in dhatu partha. Starting from edha vruddhau up to this one here, where the comment is made. All these dhatus from edha down to here, the udatta means that the dhatus vowel is udatta, but anudatta itaha. There's also an it letter there which is anudatta swara on it. These are two things. The dhatu itself has a vowel on it. Every dhatu has to have at least one vowel. Anyatha ucharanam sambhavati. Anyatha ucharanam na sambhavati. So every dhatu has to have at least one ach. In fact, most of them have only one ach. Most of them. Most dhatus have only one ach. Anekach dhatavaha viralah. The only few of them have anekach. If you want to make a guess at a dhatu, it should have generally only one ach. There are a few in the dhatu partha which have more than one ach. There are few of them. Of course, you can also make derived dhatus, and those will generally have at least two achas, generally speaking, at least two. But let's not talk about it. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves right now. In the dhatu partha, most dhatus will have only one ach. So that ach will have a swara on it. It may or may not have an it. Every dhatu does not have to have an it letter with it. For example is that, okay, an example here is that, look at this dhatu bhu sattayam. Now bhu sattayam, Of course, the ukaraha is in the dhatu itself, bhu, it's obvious. But then there is no it letter. Doesn't have any it letter with it. Yeah, so yes, so Ravi gave an example for anekash dhatu. There are few of them. There are only a few anekash dhatu, like urnu, jagru, only few of them. But every dhatu will have one swara, at least one vowel, at least one ach, and that ach will have a swara on it. And the dhatu may or may not have an it. This one has no it letter. No it letter. It is udatta swaraha, udatta. Udatta means there is no marking on here. No marking. Now the next one, eda vruddhau, the ekaraha. This ekara belongs to the dhatu, while the akara at the end is a marker here. You can see the upadesha anunasika it, because it has a edha. This it has the upadesha aj anunasika it, which you already have learnt. So this ekara belongs to the dhatu, ed, while this edha, this ending akara is the it letter. So this ekara is udattaha, while the akara, which is the it letter, is anudattaha. Anyway, we'll see all this in details. Don't worry if you don't catch all of these today. I keep on warning you because I don't want to be blown off with all these new things coming in one class. Every class will be, every example you will be getting, examples. So one more time, in bhu sattayam, this ukara obviously belongs to dhatu bhu. There is no it letter with it. There is no it letter. In edha vruddhau, the ekaraha belongs to dhatu ed, while the akara at the end is an it letter, which you can see by the anunasika. Upadesha ajjunanasika it. So the ekara is udatta, no marker, while the it, akara which is an it, is anudatta. So you can look at the caption at the end. You can see the caption at the end of this section, which tells you that also. You can confirm that. So at the end of the section, you have a caption, edhadayaha udattaha. That ekara udattaha. Anudatta itaha. That at the end of edha, that akara is the it letter, is anudattaha. So even if you don't, most dhatu pathas today you might find don't have these swaras marked like that. Doesn't matter, you don't need them, because there are section footers or captions which tell you that from this point to this point, from edha up to this katha, they are grouped like that. They're grouped such that they will have udatta swara for the dhatu swara, dhatu's vowel, and anudatta itaha. So this will have a anudatta swara on the it letter. So all these dhatus are grouped together such that they all have the udatta swara on the dhatu h, and then they have anudatta swara on the it letter. Now, what are the implications of these? Why do we need these? One quick warning about swara prakriya is that there are two kinds of swaras. One which Panini uses, one which Panini prescribes. Which Panini uses, we need to know. So what is the implication of a dhatu having udatta swara? We'll come to that. We're going to come to all that. And what implication of dhatu having a anudatta it letter? We're going to see that. But they will have implications. These we need to know. When Panini prescribes swaras for the Vedic mantras, that we're not studying in this class. That comes in chapter 6 in the 6162. So when swaras are being used to interpret and to formulate rules, we need to know that. When we don't need to know how to put the swaras in a Vedic mantra, that we're not doing in this class. So now, just a brief look at Dhatu Patha. So what is Dhatu Patha again? Is a list. It's just like another Gana. We saw the Paradi Gana, we saw Chadaya Gana, we saw that. So this is another Gana. But this is a very special Gana. It has these elements called Dhatus. And why do they get the Sanya Dhatu, then they can take the Pratyas which are prescribed only after Dhatus. So that is the one thing. And they're broken down into 10 groups, which we'll see later on. Why 10 groups? We will see that. Now, quickly, so you have this one here, which is in the Dhatu Patha order. This in Dhatu Patha order is important because you can see they're grouped together. So Dhatu Patha makes groups of dhatus which have certain properties. Not only the swara, they have other properties also which are grouped together intentionally by Panini. So Panini intentionally groups these dhatus in the Dhatu Patha, so they can be referred to sometimes as a group within the Dhatu Patha. There will be subgroups from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. They do that and so on. So Dhatu Patha order is important to have in front of your eyes. But you may also want to have the Dhatu Patha in the Akaradi Suchi, which is good to look at. If you want to look at Bhu Sattayam, you can quickly come here, and and this is also a searchable document. So what you can get the Dhatu number from here. So it says 1.1. So it's the first Dhatu in the first Gana. First Dhatu. Now if you want to look at Dhatu like As Bhuvi. So you can, the Dhatu like As, you can get the number from this one by searching. See As Dhatu in Adadi Gana, first 2-3 Gana is there. Adadi Gana is number 2.60. 2.60, you can get it from here. You can also go here and then go to 2.60. You'll see the Dhatu As should be here. Dhatu As 2.60, 2.60. Second Gana number 60 should be 2.60. So you can come down here, see As Bhuvi. So this is what's happening. So you can, if you want, you can search in this document, then come to this document and look in the Dhatu Patha order. Dhatu Patha order. So this is just very briefly today, just we're dipping our tiptoe in the Dhatu Patha land. What is Dhatu Patha? Now one quick warning for you is that the terms in Dhatu Patha are not the only ones which get Dhatu Sanya. Everything in Dhatu Patha, every term gets Dhatu Sanya, but those are not the only ones, because there are also derived dhatus, which Pani calls Sanajyanta Dhatava, like what is the causative, frequentative, desiderative, like it comes in the very first sloka of Gita, right? Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsavaha. That Yuyutsa is a derived dhatu. That's also a dhatu sanya. It's not in Dhatu Patha. Only Dhatu Yud will be in Dhatu Patha, not Yutsa. The term Yutsa will not be in Dhatu Patha. It will also get Dhatu Sanya, but don't worry about it. All I want to tell you right now is that the Dhatus are not only those which are, they are called Shuddha Dhatavaha. They are the basic Dhatus, but we also have derived Dhatus, which we'll see much later. Okay, so that's just Dhatu introduction. Now so the first sutram here says that Bhuvadayaha. Now what is this Va? Bhuvadayaha. This dhatu called Va in the second gana means to blow. Bhuvadayaha. This dhatu in second gana means to blow. So basically what means, the way they look at the, so if you want to look at the dhatu Va, you can go there also. Bhuvadayaha dhatavaha. Bhuvadayaha. So let's see actual dhatu Va. So why you put Va over there? Why put Va? What is the question of Va? Why are we searching for Va? Bhuvadayaha dhatavaha. Bhuvadayaha. Why is not coming here? Bhuvadayaha. Bhuvadayaha dhatavaha. Bhuvadayaha. Let's see if I can go down there. Bhuvadayaha dhatavaha. So if you look at Va, so now Va is the dhatu in the second gana. The Va is putting the dhatu Va with over here. Bhuvadayaha. We'll see it in a second. But let me point to the dhatu Va. Here it is. Va gati gandhana yoho. Basically, Va means to blow. Vati. Vati is to blow. So now this gives an action here. Means it signifies action. So it means that kriya vachinaha. So those which signify an action. So bhvadayaha, the terms bhu, etc., when they signify an action, because you might find a bhu somewhere else, which might become a noun or something maybe, or some other term, or maybe within a pratipadikam. So even though there is a bhu over there, doesn't mean it has a dhatu sanya. It's kriya vachinaha bhvadayaha, dhatu sanyasyaho. I mean, to keep it very simple for us is that the terms bhu, etc., in the dhatu patha, when they are signifying an action, kriya vachinaha, denote an action, one action, they get the dhatu sanya. Thank you, Ravi. Va gati gandhana yoho. Thank you. So this is just what is a dhatu. One more time, this list of terms in the dhatu patha, the basic elements which form this language, they are called dhatus. And we'll look at them more detail as we go along. So, bhuvadayaha dhatavaha. Now, okay. Now the next sutram here is that what termination do we add to these dhatus to make up a verbal form? What termination do we add to these dhatus to make a verbal form? And that is these 10 terminations which are called lakaras, the 10 L's. the 10 L's. What are these 10 L's? Lakara means letter L. So what are these 10 L letters? They are given as follows. They are given as lut, lit, lut, rut, late, lot, lung, ling, lung, and rung. Now, what are all these strange terms? So basically, what Panini does is that he takes the letter L, lakara, and puts a it letter on it, a it vowel on it, and also a hull at the end, a hull. And he makes each one of them in some specific meaning, For example, this lat comes in vartamane lat. In the Ashtadhyayi, Panini will specify what lat means, in what meaning can the lat sutram, lat pratyaya. These are pratyaya, first of all. We are in the adhikar pratyaya parascha. All these lat, lit, lut, etc. We're going to see them in order. So today we'll be taking only the lat lakaraha. But it's called these 10 lakaraha. They are all pratyaya parascha, and they are all signify certain time period or certain mood, certain type of action. For example, this lat is vartamane lat, which means that it's in the present tense. When you want to express the present tense meaning of a dhatu, use vartamane lat. Now in the lat, in all of these, you have seen the halantyam, the ending hal is in it, halantyam. And also upadesh ajjanunasika it. Only the lakara remains behind. That's why they call lakaraha. So they're all lakaras, but depending on which it was used with them, they carry different connotations. So in all of these, by halantyam, upadesha janunasika tasya lopaha, anubandha lope, lakara avashishyate, lakaraha, only the la. Now, one more thing over here is that even by lashak patadhite, even the lakara should have had the it sanya. By lashak patadhite, even the lakara should have had the it sanya. So why does it not have? Because prayojana bhavat and vachana samarthyat. Because we're going to see a sutram later on today. We're going to see a sutram where Panini starts this adhikara called lasya adhikara. In place of la. In place of la, you can put this. Now, the fact that Panini is saying do a lakara adeshaha, then if you make the lakara as an it letter, this sutram will be useless. This whole adhikara becomes useless. Lasya adhikara. So the fact that Panini is telling us to do an adeshaha in place of la, obviously this is abhipraya is that lakarasya it sanya na bhavati. It has no prayojanam also. So vachana samarthyat prayojana bhavacha yashakvatadite iti prapta it sanya na bhavati. This sanya doesn't happen. So one more time, in each of these lakaras we have a halantyam, upadeshajana nasika it, anubandha lope la. We should have also taken the it sanya by lashakvatadite, but vachana samarthyat by lasya sutram is coming. We have to make an adesha in place of la. If we want to make an adesha, that letter has to remain. It becomes it letter, it becomes tasya lopa, it will go away. So lakar doesn't get the it sanya. Now, there are 10 of these tenses and moods, what are called tenses and moods. So, like for example, ling is the potential mood. Something may happen, might happen, it could happen, it would happen. So ling is used in that sense. We're going to see all these in great detail as the year goes along. So, but just look at how many we have right now. First of all, notice that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have the takara as an it on them. Takara as an it, they can be grouped together for certain operations. Certain operations say if the lakara has st as an it, then do something. Like here, right here in 3.4.79, tita apane padanam tere, titaha. Lakara has st as an it, then do certain operations. Similarly, nityam nitaha comes down here. If lakara has ng as an it covered panchamaha, then do certain operations. So notice that these are grouped together and they are taking in the tit lakaras comes. This is generally the order of the parampara. In Ashtadhyayi, this doesn't say like that, but in the Kaumadi and Dhatu Vritti, etc., this is the traditional order. Traditional order is the tit lakaras first, because Vartamani lat, of course, is the most common. So take tit lakaras, so lakara which have ters and its are taken first, and then you get the nit lakaras coming after that. And within that, you get in the akara, the suchi. So la, la, li, lu, like that. So lat comes first, lit comes second, then lut, so la, la, li, then lu comes here, lut, then le, lai, lo, so late and lot. Then of course that's a tit lakara, these six are tit lakaraha, and then you get the chatvaraha nitaha. So you get lung, ling, lung, and rung, 4. Now, one comment here is that this lakara late is, chando matra gocharaha. It only comes in the Vedas. So late lakara, we'll be not studying that one in this class, late lakara. So then what happens, bhashayam? Bhashayam will only have these, lut, lit, lut, rut, lot, then lung, ling, lung, and rung. Only these are used in bhashayam. Only these are used. The late is used only in the Vedaha. But what happens is that this ling has two varieties, which is called the Vidiling and the Ashil ling. We'll see much later today. Not today, but this will come to us much later. What is the meaning of Vidiling? What is the meaning of Ashil ling? This is to be discussed in the coming months. But what happens is that when you make the ling in the twofold variety of that, then again we got 10 lakaras. Again we got 10. Because we had 10 before, we took out the late because bhashayam late na drishyate. We don't have late in bhashayam, but we have the dvividha ling. We have two kind of ling, vidhiling, ashil ling. When you include that, again we got 10 lakaras. So basically, people only talk of dasha lakaraha always. Whether it is Vede, Chandasi, you also have 10. Then you bring in the late lakaraha and keep ling as a single lakaraha in Chandasi. In bhashayam, you have 10 because you take out the late, but count vidhiling, ashil as 2. So you have still, they will always, when the lakaras always refer to as 10. Always referred to as 10. So this is the one little trick over here, is that even though they're always 10, in the Vedas you have to keep the late and keep only one number for ling. In bhashayam there's no late, but you keep vidhiling, ashil, twofold distinction, and you make it like that. Now actually ling does have twofold distinction even in Vedas, but you don't count them as 2 in the Vedas. You count them only once to make a round number 10. Round number 10 here also in bhashayam, because you count the ling twice, basically vidhiling, ashil. Okay, so now what are these 10 lakaras? What do they mean? They basically signify the various kinds of action. When is the actioning happening? Happening in the present, in the past, in the future, and what kind of action is it? What is the mood, and what is the mode of that action? So we'll see all these in detail as the months go along. So now comes the question is that, one more question is that, in what can we use these in the active voice or the passive voice, or can we use them both? How can these be used? How can these be used? So that sutram is 3467. Next sutram for today. We're going to have today a lot of basic rules, okay? A lot of basic foundation rules. We're going to try to get to one form if we can today, but these are all basic rules which are going to see a lot of sanyas and a lot of new, foundation being built, which we will use for time to come. So first one, just no example yet, but we say this is lah karmani cha bhave cha karmakebhyaha. Lah karmani cha bhave cha karmakebhyaha. What does it mean that laha? So lakaraha. So this laha means lakaraha. Lakaras can be used when? There are two kinds of dhatu usages, sakarmakaha and akarmakaha. Quick example for you. When you say Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. So Pashyati, Ramaha looks at Sita. Now the action of looking has an object to it. Who is he looking at? So when the effect of the action is accruing, when the phalam, parinamaha, is accruing outside the doer, other than the doer, the action of seeing, the seeing is affecting Sita, Sita being looked at. So the effect of the action is now moved away from the seer, this item being seen. Like we say, Pachakaha odanam pashati. So the cook is cooking rice. Now the cook is cooking, he is the karta, but the odanam is taking the effect of that. That's called the karma. The effect of the action is called sakarmaka dhatu. Sakarmakaha is when the phalam and the vyapara and phalam, when there is two different items doing that. So when somebody cooks rice, the effect of the cooking is coming on the rice, so it's a sakarmaka dhatu. While the one who's cooking is the cook, while the effect of the action, the phalam, is coming on the rice getting boiled or whatever. Now, on the other hand, when you say balaha swapiti, the boy sleeps, balaha shete, when that happens, the sleeping action is only on the boy. It is not affecting, something outside. The boy sleeps, or the boy stands, balaha tishtati. So it is, it is now like nadi vahati, the river flows. When these kind of usages, the effect of the action is completely in the doer himself or herself. That's called an akarmaka usage. Akarmaka and sakarmaka. We'll see these in detail as we go along also. So sakarmaka and akarmaka. The sutra says that lakaraha sakarmakebhya means one which has taken a karma. Can be used in karmani kartari cha. They can be used to denote to connect with the karma or to connect with the doer. For example, go back to the example which you had before. Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. The verb Pashyati is has been used in reference to Ramaha. How do we know that? If you change the object, the Pashyati will not change. You say Ramaha Rakshasan Pashyati. I change the object to Rakshasan. The Pashyati does not change. The Pashyati is centered on, is focused on the Karta here, which is Ramaha. Is the Karta. So Kartari Prayagaha. So which is in the sense of the agent. So the Kartari, that means the word Pashyati does not tell you anything about the karma. It does tell you about the Karta. The Karta is somebody who is a third person singular, Pashyati. So if you say Rama Lakshmanau Sitam Pashyataha, now the verb will change because the Karta has changed to Rama Lakshmanau. There are two of them now, looking at Sita. So the fact that changing the Karta changed the verbal form, this is in the active voice, this is the dhati, the Kriyapadam, is centered on, is connecting with, is bound with the Karta. So the Kartri Prayagaha. Now if we can reverse that and say, Sita Ramena Drishyate. Sita Ramena Drishyate. Sita is seen by Rama. Now what's happening here is that the verb Drishyate connected with Sita. So now you can, if I change that, if I change the object, Sita is still the object. She is the one who's being seen. But now the verb has taken a passive form. It has now become Sita Ramena Drishyate. If I change the object, make it Rakshasaha Ramena Drishyante. Rakshasaha Ramena Drishyante. When I change it to Rakshasaha, they are seen by Rama. So these are two kinds of usages are possible. When you have a sakarmaka usage, sakarmaka lakara, and when an object is there, they can be used in what's called the active voice, means that the verb is connecting with the doer. It's in reference to the doer. And if the doers change, the verb will change. Also the passive voice, with the verb connects with the object. So then when the object changes, the form will change. Now, at least for the next few months, we were looking only at Kartri Prayoga only. For the next few months at least, we're going to be looking only at the Kartri Prayoga. So one good news is that when they become passive, a lot of distinction between dhatus, they are not important. When you use passive forms, we'll see examples later, the dhatu distinctions, they don't matter that much. They will not matter. But that's why the Kartari Prayogaha is the one which will take much more of our time. Because different dhatus behave differently. They fall in different ganas. They take different modifications, but only Kartari. So an active voice. So we're going to be focusing our attention on the active voice for the next at least few months, on the active voice only. But the fact remains, if you have a sakarmaka prayogaha, sakarma lakaraha, then sakarmaka dhatu, sakarmaka dhatu if you have, sakarmaka dhatu. So lakara is a pratyaha. I shouldn't have confused you. Lakara is a pratyaha. Sakarmake bhyaha, dhatu bhyaha. So following a dhatu which is a sakarmaka, just taken a karma, the lakara can be used in the sense of the object, in the sense of the subject. Now, how about when we had the balakaha tishtati. What about that now? That's the akarmaka usage. So dhatu is akarmaka in this sense. So it has not taken a karma. So dhatu is akarmaka, not lakara. I'm sorry. Dhatu is akarmaka. So now balakaha tishtati. Now, of course, there's no karma. There's no point in karmani. Of course, kartari is possible. Balakaha tishtati, but it can also be called bhave. This bhave because akarmakebhyaha. Bhave kartari cha. What is bhave? Bhave means to express the sense of the verb. A sense of the verb. So tishtati is to stand. So when you say in English, the boy stands. You can make it I think it's called in English the impersonal passive. Is the action, if you want to make it passive, make it the action of standing is done by the boy. It sounds very strange in English. It sounds very strange, but that's the way to translate that. Is balakena sthiyate. Balakena sthiyate means the standing is done by the boy. So the action of standing is done by. So when bhave means to express the sense of the verb, the action. So when you have it akarmaka dhatu, it's not taken a karma. Then in that case, what happens is that you can use lakaras in the active, of course, balaka tishtati, and also use them bhave, balakena sthiyate, balakena sthiyate. So again, right now, we are going to use only the active voice for a long time, so we don't have to worry about this detail, but we have to still start with this point, with that the lakara, can be used kartari or karmani, following a sakarmaka dhatu. They can be used kartari or bhave, following a akarmaka dhatu. So that's the first basic thing. So in what sense are they being used? That's the first thing. Now, two examples again. Purushaha vruksham chinati. A person cuts down the tree. So this is an active voice. This chinati connects with the purushaha. Now with in the passive, what this is called kartari prayoga. Kartari. Lakaraha kartari prayuktaha. Kartari means in the sense of doer, focusing on the doer, in reference to the doer, kartari. Now if you get purushena ghata kriyate, this is karmani, because the ghata is being made by the boy. So this one is now connecting with ghataha, not with purusha anymore. You can make purushaihi ghata kriyate, the kriyate will not change. So this is sakarmaka dhatu, karma vachya. It is talking about the karma. So this lakaraha is talking about the karma here, is describing the karma, not the karta. Now how about balaka, I told balaka tishtati, akarmaka usage, kartruvachya, balakena, balena sthiyate. The action of standing is done by the boy. Now we talked about the meanings, which each lakara has a meaning, and all the meanings are given in chapter 3 of we have been focusing on chapter 3, because that, as I said, has a dhatu adhikara in that. And to start with today, we'll be seeing the lat lakara, which is the most common lakara, is lakara called lat. Because vartamani, lat is action in the present tense, action is most common. Most common action in the present tense, vartamani lat. So in what meaning is lat pratyaya used? Vartamani lat. So always the first step is to find out in what meaning lakara, what is the meaning that you're looking for? What is the intention of the speaker? What is the intent to convey in that action? So that will then tell you, what meaning you're looking at. So vartamane lat. Vartamane, very straightforward sutram. Vartamane kriya vrittehe dhatoho. When the dhatu wants to express a action in the present tense, you can use the lat lakara, should be used. So dhatu, the affix lat comes after dhatu, denoting action in the present tense. Very straightforward. Vartamane lat. In the meaning of vartamane, lat can be used. And every lakara will have a sutra, or maybe more than one sutra in sutram in various meanings. Maybe dhatus it can be used. We'll take one basic meaning right now for vartamane lat. Now comes the next step. This is always the first step. In what meaning are we getting it? So first of all, what is the dhatu? From the dhatu part or derived dhatu, as the case may be. Pick that one out. Secondly, what is the intention of the speaker? Does he want the lakar to express the doer or the object in the case of sakarmaka dhatu? Does he want the lakar to express the doer or just the action in the case of akarmaka dhatu? Determine that. Let's say it is kartari or karmani or bhave. That's second step. Third thing is that what is the type of action that the speaker wants to express? In what meaning does he want to express? In this case, vartamane lat, he wants to express an action in the present tense. So now you got the dhatu. bhu in this case example, you got the lakara, it's going to be kartari. It's going to be kartari in the sense of the agent. Now the next step, of course, is going to be remove the it letters. So we got, look at our notes document here. Again, thanks to Radha for making beautiful document. Saves me a lot of time, it's been a lot of effort. Thank you. So bhu plus lat, we got that. Bhu plus lat. So we have used this sutram, which is it comes in the lah karmani cha bhave cha karmake bhyah. Use vartamani lat we used. And then we remove the it letters, the third step. These steps are common to all lakara prakriya. So please pay attention if you can. These, of course, the lakara will change, the meaning will change, but the basic prakriya is the same. First, what is the dhatu? Which dhatu are you looking at? What meaning of action does you want? Second thing is that, is it active or passive? The third thing is that, what type of action we're talking about? Is it talking about a particular time frame, talking about a mode of action? Then use lakara. So up to that point, you got dhatu plus lakara. That's, we came to that point, dhatu plus lat. Now the next step is always remove the it letters. Remove it. This I'm talking about tinganta prakriya, okay? The tinganta prakriya, the next step will remove the it letters by and every lakara will have halantyam and upadesha junanasika it. Anubandha lope la. So this step is common to all of them. Anubandha lope la. Even the next step is common to all of them. What is the next step? Next step is this tip tasji, sip tasta, mip vasmas, ta atamja, thas atamzam, id vahi mahi. It sounds like a very long, nasty sutram, but just like you had the swaujas sutram that we had, we're using in the Suvanta Prakriya. Similarly here, you will have this sutram, which is the, looks very nasty today, but as we split it up, it will be less scary as we go along with it. So tip tasji, this is a list of 18 adesha. These are the la adesha. We can look at this. Lasya adesha. So in place of la, we already talked what la means. La is basically anubandha lope, refers to each lakara, will end up with a la. In place of that la, immediately comes nitya karyam. Nitya karyam, as the case may be, one of these 18 will come. Now what are these 18? Which one of them do we have to choose? We'll see shortly. I go to sleep. Will that be lat? Yeah. If I don't go but inform you about the intention. Yeah, if you want to say I want to go to sleep, then that's a different kind of usage. I go to sleep, then that should be lat. Yes, I go to sleep should be yes. It's a question from Yulia. Does go to sleep should be lat. I go to sleep is lat. But I want to go to sleep, that's a different thing now. You want to express desire in that of going to sleep, not actually going to sleep. That creates complications. Right now, I'm going to sleep. I go to sleep. Those will be lat. I go to sleep. I'm going to sleep. That is lat. Okay. So anyway, tipta ji are these adesha in place of la. Now what are these things? Is ete ashtadasha ladeshasyu. In place of la come these 18 substitutions. They immediately come. Depending on the vivaksha anusarena, one of them is going to come. Now, which one are we going to choose now out of these 18? Let's try to see. First of all, comes a sanya now. One sanya sutram for you. Just like when we had the Subant Prakriya, we have Sarvanama Sthanam, and all the sanyas we had. So here also we get a sanya now, laf parasmai padam. Very, very simple, straightforward sutram. All these are really, building blocks, the fundamental sutras. They'll become a part of you very shortly. Very shortly, they'll become a part of you. So, laf parasmai padam, it says, la deshaha, parasmai pada sanyasyaho. So, as a default rule, only a default rule, that any adesha in place of la, we take the sanya parasmai padam, parasmai pada sanyasyaho. So, by this sutram, all of these 18, tip tas ji, sip tas ta, mip vas mas, ta atamja, thas atamzam, id vahi mahi. Now in this class, I'm not asked to memorize anything much in this class at all. I never said memorize this. I would recommend that you can try to repeat the sutras many times you can. The vritti from Siddhanta Kaumudi, the dhatu patha, vartikani. But if you want to memorize something, memorize or refer to quickly all the time is these two sutras, which is the in fact, you recall many months back, I put these sutras in the Sutra Suchi for that reason. These Swaujas out, which is the supratyaya, the 21, and ashtadasha ladeshaha, these 3, 4, 78. Why this is so fundamental? Because every word, means every completed word in the language has to end in one of these. One more time. Those 4, 1, 2, which you already know, and 3, 4, 78, only because suptingantam padam. Suptingantam is what Panini says, suptingantam padam. So very straightforward. So in padam, we can say roughly the completed word, roughly in English, completed word has to end in one of these. So it's good to have these. So to have these, and you can go through Bhagavad Gita or whatever, you can pick up any word, and you can, when you do Padacheda, you can say which one of these 39 is being used, the 21 sup and the 18 ladeshaha. Which one of them are being used? Which one of those 39 is being used? So keep this on your wall, stick it in your wall somewhere, tiptaji, siptastha, and all these. So they should be handy at all times, and after some time they'll be second nature. Now, for love parasmay padam, all of these as a start as a default will get parasmay padam. But the next sutram says Tangana Vatmane Padam, Tangana Vatmane Padam, Tangana Vatmane Padam, means that Tang Pratyahara. This also forms a Pratyahara, by the way. From the Ting Pratyahara, this tip up to the Nakara of Mahing forms the Pratyahara. Pratyahara is not only in the Mahesha Sutrani, we already seen that. We saw Pratyahara Sup, we saw Pratyahara Sut, we have seen Pratyahara Ap, we have seen, which is not coming in the Mahesha Sutrani, it is in the Sutra Pasha, in the Sutram. So similarly here, you have two Pratyahara. You have Pratyahara called Ting, includes all 18 of these. The Pratyahara Tang includes 9 only of these. So one more time, Pratyahara Ting includes all 18. Pratyahara Tang includes only the latter 9. Now, of course, this pratyahara will be used by Panini. He will use these pratyaharas and these sanyas now. See, when you have these sanyas, they look kind of boring to you right now, but they are going to be used a lot. Like we use the bhasanya, padasanya, swarnama, sthana sanya, we use sarvanama shabda sanya we used. These are going to be used. So, tangana vatmani padam. So, tang is a pratyahara from ta up to the nakara. So, it includes the 9 pratyahas, ta, atam, ja, thas, atam, dvam, id, vahi, mahi. Called Tang Pratyahara. And also the Ana, which you're not going to see right now. There are 2 participle forms, Krudantas, which is called Shanach and Kanach. So don't worry about these right now, what Ana means. But they are 2 Pratyahara. So all of these get the Atmanepada Sanya. So the Tang Pratyahara, which is important to us right now, these 9 over here, and so also the Shanach and Kanach, which we'll see later sometime, they get the Atmanepada Sanya. So now, even though all 18 got the Parasmapada Sanya as a default, these 9 have now been removed. They get the Sanya of Atmanepadam, Atmanepada Sanya. Okay. So now we know that these 9 are Parasmapadam, called Parasmapada Sanya they got, and these 9 got Atmanepada Sanya. Now, why is it important to us? Because each dhatu will allow a certain type of pratyaya to come with it, either a parasyapadam or an atmanepadam, or maybe some might allow either one of them. So now, when we know that, in fact, if you go back to dhatu pata, which we just saw, it is first dhatu bhu sattayam, it says parasmai bhashaha. Which it is used in the parasyapadam, pratyaya can be used only with it. When using dhatu bhu, you can only use the first 8 in kartari. Let me warn you one more thing. It's all only kartari. Let me make you a big warning right now. Is that, make a note of this please, in somewhere in your notebook or in your wall somewhere, is that if you have a passive usage, there's a very important sutram which says bhavakarmanoho, that any passive usage in this language, and this rule is almost always followed, any passive usage, whether it is bhave or karmani, bhavakarmanoho, impersonal passive or passive in the sense of the object, it has to take only an Atmanepadam affix. One more time. I'll repeat it 2 times. If you have a passive usage in the language, either bhava or karmana, bhavi or karmani, then only Atmanepadam can be used. So the question of to use Parasyapadam or Atmanepadam is only kartari. If it's bhavi or karmani, there's no need to ask anything. because of Vyakaramanoho. So be very careful to in the passive only Atmanipadam Pratyaya can be used. Only when talk about active usage Kartari, then only you have to go through and decide which one to use. So dhatus have distinctions. Some will allow only Atmanipadam Pratyaya, some will allow in Parasyapadam, but that's only Kartari, not in the passive. In the passive, every dhatu, no matter what it is, you have to take only Atmanipadam. Okay, now having said that, let's see what the next sutram says is that Anudatta Gnita Atmanipadam. Anudatta Gnitaha. So following a dhatu, which is Anudatta it letter, or the ka varga panchama, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, as an it. So if a dhatu is marked with an it, first of all, it should have an it, obviously, and the it should either be Anudatta swaraha on that it letter. We talk about the it letter, now be careful. We talk about the it letter for the dhatu, not the dhatu ach itself. For example, bhu sattayam doesn't have any it letter. So this sutra will not apply to bhu sattayam. But that's when now you're trying to see the significance of the it letter, the significance of the swara on the it letter. But let's just look at this dhatu edha, which we just saw. This does have an it letter here, the akara at the end. It does have anudatta swara on it. So this dhatu edha will come under the domain of the sutram, which is anudatta gnitaha atmanipadam. Anudatta gnitaha is this padacheda. If you do anudatta gnitaha. So anudatta itaha and nitascha. Anudatta gnitaha. Dhatoho atmanipadam syat. So if a dhatu has a it letter, which is either an ach, which is anudatta swara on it, or it has a kavarga panchama ngakara as an it. In that case, that dhatu will only take, again, only kartari. We're only talking kartari, not in the passive. In passive, everything is atmanipadam. But in kartari, this type of dhatu will only take a atmanipadam affix with it. Now, a dhatu may have more than one it letter. Nothing to say the dhatu has to have only one it letter, okay? As long as it has a it letter, any one it letter, which has anudatta swara on it, or which is a kavarga panchama ngakara, take only atmanipadam. That's one sutram. Now, just to mark out your Ashtadhyayi territories, this section about the padavyavastha. So when to take an atmanipadam, which dhatus will take atmanipadam, which will take parasmapadam, is all the topic from 1.3.12 to end of 1.3. One more time. From when you want to decide whether to bring in a pratyaya which has the atmanipada sanya, parasmapada sanya, you have to come to this section from 1.3.12 to end of 1.3. Today we're seeing only 2 or 3 rules today, maybe 3 of them today, but for the rest of your life, when you want to decide to bring atmanipadam, parasmapadam, this is the section from 1.3.12, anudatta gnita atmanipadam, all the way to the end of 1.3 is talking about the padavyavastha. So atmanipadam bhavishyati pratyaha atva prayoktavyaha atmanipadam prayoktavayam atva parasmapadam. This is the topic of 1.3 from 1.3.12 to 1.3.93. From 1.3.12 to 1.3.93. So now that we have seen only one sutram right now, which is anudatta gnita atmanipadam. I also told you about 1.3.13, which is anything passive is also atmanipadam all the time. Any dhatu. Now, the next sutram says swarita gnitaha kartravipraye kriyaphale. What does that mean? Kartravipraye kriyaphale is when the kriyaphalam, when the result of the action accrues to the doer. When you do something for yourself, and the doer is doing for him, not for the sake of somebody else, for the sake of somebody else, the fruit of the action now, benefit of fruit of the action, may not be benefit, whatever the fruit is. If it accrues to the doer, like when you do puja, you can say, patishyami or patishye. So you can say, which one are you like karishyami. So karishyami, karishye it can be. Karishyami, karishye. Now, this one, of course, is assuming that you could use either one of them. Let's see the vritti over here. Swaritetaha. If if a dhatu has a it letter, and it is swarita, then it is telling you that this dhatu can take, it will take the atmanipadam affix when the fruit of the action is accruing to the doer, and it will take, that's what the sutram is saying. Right now all it is saying is that if the dhatu has an it letter, which is a swara with a swarita mark on it, intonation, or it has a cha varga panchama, cha, nya as an it, any one of these, swarita it or nyit, in that case it will take atmanipadam, but only when the katragamini kriya phale, in the fruit of the action, he is doing the action for himself. So when you have a priest doing puja, he might say karishyami. Yajamanam will say karishye, because he is doing the puja for himself. By 1-3-12, this dhatu can be atmanipadam, can be both in person, it's only atmanipadam. No, see this dhatu, Yulia, has a swarita it or the cha varga panchama as an it. The atmanipadam which we saw, we are looking at the anudatta it, not swarita, anudatta it or ka varga panchama as an it. These are two different categories. They will not overlap. These are different dhatus. So this one was telling you that the prior category, Nudatta Mita Atmanipadam, was saying all the time. Yeah, 1-3-12. Yeah, 1-3-12 says all the time. This can only take Atmanipadam. Doesn't matter the Kriya Phale, whether it is Katrugamini or Anyagamini, doesn't matter. So as long as the dhatu has Anudatta mark on the it letter, or it has the Kavarga Panchama as an it, it can only take Atmanipadam. Again, Kartari, talking about Kartari Prayoga only, but doesn't matter with Kriya Phalam, doesn't talk about Kriya Phalam in that. So 1-3-12, the Kriya Phalam doesn't matter where it goes. If that dhatu has this condition satisfied, then Atmanipadam, that's all. You don't have to ask if Kriya Phalam, doesn't matter to you there. The question of Kriya Phalam is not in 1-3-12, doesn't talk about that. It just says if this condition is satisfied, then Atmanipadam has to be used, that's it. So, but here, with these now you have to make a further distinction. The dhatu has a it letter, which is swarita, or it has the cha varga panchama as an it. Now you have to go one step further and ask, is this accruing to the kriya phalam is katra viprayam? That's why it is not. If it's coming for the doer, then put atmanipadam. Otherwise, that's all it says. Atmanipadam only if it's coming to the doer. Now, before we talk about this more, let's go to the next sutram. We should complete this cycle now. Complete cycle. It says, Sheshat Kartari Parasmapadam. Very, very important sutram. Sheshat. Sheshat means remainder, following any other dhatu which is not mentioned. Not mentioned where? What does it mean Shesha? Anukta Shesha. Anukta, which has not been said before. So from 1-3-12 to 1-3-77. Panini puts a lot of conditions with certain dhatus, these dhatus, that dhatus will take Atmanepadam. Atmanepadam. We've seen one sutram today, which is the Anudatta Gnita. We've seen three of them today. Anudatta Gnita Atmanepadam. If the dhatu has an it letter, Anudatta Swara on it, or the Kavarga Panchama as an it can take only Atmanepadam. I also told you, which is Vyakaranam, any action in the passive, which are not studying right now, but it's important to them to know. Anything in the passive, the dhatu can only take for Atmanipadam only. We also saw one more just now, which says the dhatu is swarita it. A swarita it, or the cha varga panchama is an it. That will take Atmanipadam, but only katra vipraya kriya phale. So one more time, the dhatu is swarita it, or the cha varga panchama is an it. That will take Atmanipadam, only the kriya phalam is katra viprayam kriya phalam. So katra vipraya kriya phale. Now, if none of these conditions from 1-3-12 to 1-3-77 apply to a dhatu, let's say the dhatu bhu sattayam, it doesn't have an it letter. Doesn't have any it letter, and we're using bhu in the active right now. So far from what we have studied so far, we have seen the three rules today. Anudatta Gnita doesn't apply to bhu sattayam. Doesn't have an it letter at all. Then Vyakaranam doesn't apply also. We're talking about Kartari. Today we're talking about Kartari right now. We're talking about Kartari Prayoga in the active sense. So this one doesn't apply to this in our example right now. And also 1372 doesn't apply, which is the Swaritagnyati. It doesn't have an it letter, bhu. So that also is gone. So if none of these apply, which from 1312, so basically from 1312 to 1377, prescribe an Atmanepadam affix under certain conditions. Now if a dhatu does not come under any of those conditions, then in the remaining cases, remaining means whatever did not get captured in 1312 to 1377, that's the remaining. Sheshat kartri parasnepadam. In the active voice only Panini says parasnepadam. So parasnepadam is like a default. Parasnepadam is the default. Only if one of these conditions from 1312 to 1377 is satisfied, then only Atmanepadam. Otherwise, the default Parasnepadam affix is to be used. Again, Kartari. Remember that. Kartari, only Kartari. Let me talk about Kartari right now. So, in what we're talking about, Dhatu Bhu in Kartari, that's the example that we're trying to take. So, this one will default to the Parasnepadam affix. Now, we just saw that in the class today that this Tiptasji, there are 18 of them. By first, they all got the Sanya Parasnepadam as a default, but then the Apavada came in, which was these 9 became Atmanepadam by Tangana or Atmanepadam. Now we have a choice. We have Dhatu Bhu plus Lat Anubandha Lope Bhu plus La. Now which one of these 9 do we use? We have a choice of 9 now because we just determined that Bhu is devoid of the Atmanepada Lakshanam. So Atmanepada Lakshana Vihinaha. Atmanepada Lakshana Vihinaha Bhu Dhatuho. So this Atmanepada Nimitta Vihinad Dhatoho, which includes Dhatu Bhu, Katri Parasnepadam Syat, Parasnepadam. We got up to that point now. So now we have 9 choices. Tiptasji, Tiptastha, Mip, Vasmas. Which one do you choose now? Now we go within the 9 now. Tingas Trini Prathama Madhyamottamaha. Tingas Trini, then groups of 3s, then sets of 3s. So this sutram, which is the Tiptasji, etc., those which are 18 are in groups of 3. And so there are 6, so Shat Trikaha, the 6 groups of 3, 6 times 3, 6 groups of 3. Tiptasji, the first group, then Sip, Thastha, second group, Mip, Vasmas, third group. These all have Sanya Parasnepadam, we just saw that. Then Ta, Atam, Ja is the first group in the Atmanepadam, then Thas, Atam, Dvam, second group, and then Id, Vahi, Mahi, third group. So there are 6 sets of 3. Tingas Trini. And they get the Sanya Madhyama, Prathama, Madhyama, Uttamaha. So the first set of 3, which is Tiptasji, gets Sanya Prathamaha. Prathama Purusha is normally called Prathama Purushaha. Prathamaha or Prathama Purushaha. Then the next set of 3, which is Sip, Thastha, these 3 get the Sanya of Madhyamaha, Madhyam Purushaha. And the last 3, Mip, Vasmas, is Uttamaha. Now let me tell you right now, it's very confusing in English. Because what happens in English is that when you say first person, in Sanskritam it becomes Uttama Purushaha, not Prathama Purushaha. Prathama Purusha in English is third person. So be very, very careful. Be very, 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 very careful. If you say in Sanskritam Prathama Purushaha, talking about third person in English, not first person. So be very careful. Prathama Purushaha in English is third person, not first person. Also the order. Now in English you say, I go, you could say first I. But here the English third person is Sanskritam Prathama Purusha comes first here in the order. So Prathama Purusha, Tiptasji, Madhyam Purusha, Siptastha, Uttama Purusha. Uttama Purusha is the English first person. Mip, Vasmas. Same thing here. The Ta, Atam, Ja is the Prathama Purusha. Then the Thas, Atam, Dvam, Madhyam Purusha. Uttama Purusha will be Id, Vahi, Mahing. So now we got these 6 sets of 3. Now which one do you want to use? Depending on who the doer is. who the doer is. Now, how do we know whether the doer is a prathama, madhyama, uttamaha? We're going to come to that. Let's look at the vritti tingaha, ubhayoho padayoho. In each padam, in parasya padam and atmane padam, trayas trikaha. 3 sets of 3 in each padam. Trayaha trikaha. Trika is a group of 3. So trayas trikaha, kramad, etat sanyasiho. So there are 3 sets of 3. There are 3 sets of 3 in parasya padam, 3 sets of 3 in atmanipadam, and they become respectively, the first set is pratham purushaha, second is madhyamaha, third is uttamaha. Okay. Now, within that now, tani, we go within a set of 3 now. What happens? Tani ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana, ekashaha. So one by one, ekashaha. Within each set of 3, you have ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachanani. So now when we take the first set of 3, tip tasji, which has a sanya parasmapadam, also pratham purushaha, then tip tasji, the tip will be ekavachanam, the tas will be dvivachanam, the ji will be bahuvachanam. So one more time, these set of 9 got the sanya of parasmapadam. Within that, the first 3 got the sanya pratham purushaha, prathamaha. Within that, the first one is ekavachanam, second is dvivachanam, third is bahuvachanam. Same thing with similarly, siptastha, parasyapadam sanya it has, madhyam purushaha, sip will be ekavachanam in the madhya purushaha, thas will be dvivachanam, tha will be bahuvachanam. Mip vasmas, also parasyapadam, which is the uttam purushaha, in English first person, uttam purusha over here. It becomes mip is ekavachanam, vas is dvivachanam, mas is bahuvachanam. Now, all these 9 of sanya of atmanipadam. Within that, the first 3 sanya of pratham purushaha, ta, atam, ja. Within that, ta will be the ekavachanam, atam will be dvivachanam, ja will be bahuvachanam. So it's atmanipadam, pratham purusha, bahuvachanam, ja. Then tha, atam, dhvam. Similarly, atmanipadam, madhyam purushaha. Thas, atham, dhvam. So thas will be the madhya purusha ekavachanam in atmanipadam. And atham will be madhya purusha dvivachanam, atmanipadam. And dhvam will be the madhya purusha bahuvachanam, atmanipadam. Similarly, id, vahi, mahi, atmanipadam, uttam purusha, English first person, id is ekavachanam, vahi is dvivachanam, and mahing is bahuvachanam. So that's the way it goes. So now we know, depending on who the doer is. So this says that tanya ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana, anya ekashaha, in each set of 3. So labdha prathamadi sanyani, when they get the sanya pratham purushaha, madhya purushaha, uttam purushaha, in each of that set, tingas trini vachanani. They get 3, they get pratyekam within each set. Pratyekam ekavachana adi sanyani, ekvachana, bahuvachana, dvivachana. Now comes when do we use madhya purusha, when we use uttam purusha, when do we use pratham purusha? Now Panini clearly says is that yushmadhyapapade samanadhikarane sthaninyapi madhyamaha. One more time. Yushmadhyapapade samanadhikarane sthaninyapi madhyamaha. So when the dhatu is connecting, when the verbal form is connecting with the yushmad upapadam, when it has to be samadhikarane. So upapadam means to be samipa ucharitam padam. Upapadam is samipe ucharitam. So when there's a yushmad word which is being pronounced, which is being used close to the dhatu, and not only that, samanadhikarane, the dhatu like this is used connecting with that. The verb is being used connecting with that yushmat. Like tvam gacchasi, tvam vanam gacchasi. You go to the forest. Now gacchasi, the tvam is being, in fact the example is given nicely here. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanush. But then before I get to the example, it can be sthanini api. It can also be implied. It doesn't have to be explicitly used. Sthanini means it has a spot. It has a placeholder there, but it is not being explicitly used. So the tvam yushmat padam can be either explicitly used or it can be implied. In either case, you have to, the pratyaya, which you have to, madhya purusha has to be used, madhyama has to be used. One more time. Madhyama has to be used. When the Yushmat Pradipadikam is used close by to the dhatu, connecting with the dhatu is referring to that Yushmat Padam. So the dhatu is taking, the action is being done by this Yushmat Padam over here. But it may be also implied, sthanini api. It doesn't have to be explicit. An example in Gita is that, so tingvacha karaka vachini. So tingvacha karaka. When the thing is talking about a karta or a karma, right? And the yushmat is that karta or karma that the thing is referring to. And upapade, when that is there close by, prayujyamane aprayujyamane cha. It could be actually used, but may be implied. Then if that is the case, then Madhyam Purusha affix has to be used, which means that we have to use, if it's Parasyapadam, we will have to use the sip thastha. After the padam, we have to use the thas athandam. So now we know when to use Madhyam Purusha. Madhyamaha has, one more time, has to be used when the Yushmat Pradipadikam in any of its forms is there, connecting with the dhatu. It can be actually be there, can be implied. Gita examples now. Tasmadevam viditvainam nanu shochutum arhasi. There is no Yushmat Pradipadikam. It is not there, sakshat, nasti, parantu vivakshitam. It is implied here. Aparujyamane, which is not being, it is called sthani. It has a place there. It has a place, but it has not been actually used. So because arhasi, taken the pratyaya sip. Pratyaya sip is Madhyam Purusha ekavachanam in Parasya Padam. So sip pratyaya is over here. Sip pratyaya is over here. So the Madhya Purusha was used because we must be having a yushmat. There's no other way out. Madhyama can only be used with yushmat in connection. Yushmat is not here sakshat, because it is aparujyamanaha. Sthani, it is not actually being used. It's being implied here. It's being implied. On the other hand, tathapitam mahabaho naivam shochutum arhasi. The same arhasi, same thing arhasi we have. But here you have tvam actually being used here. Tvam actually being used here, which is obvious. So one more time, Madhyama has to be used when you have Yushmad Padam and Samadhikaranam also. It is Samadhikaranam. So when the dhatu is talking about in Kartari, if the dhatu is being, lakara is being used in Kartari. Now Kartari, the Karta should be Yushmat. Being used Karmani, then the Karma should be Yushmat. Okay? It may be implied. It doesn't have to be there. Maybe it has to be around. It has to be around. Is it implied or explicit? Okay. Now the same thing, Asmadyuttamaha. Asmadyuttamaha. When Asmad is for the same condition as before, Asmad is used close by, around, either expressly or implied. Expressly or implied. Then if the dhatu is used in Kartari arthe, the Karta should be Asmad Pradipadikam. Karmani arthe dhatu is being, the lakara is being used, it has to be in the, lakara is being used Karmani, it should be, Karma should be Asmad, in Asmad Pradipadikam. In that case, Uttam Purusha can be used. So now we have seen, example in Gita. Paritranaya sadhuna minashaya dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Very famous shloka, I think all of you know. Sambhavami. Don't have the asmat padam over here, sakshat. You don't have it, pradipadikam. But it is thani. It does have a place here. It is being implied. So this sambhava pratyaya mip has been used. Mip. We just saw that the mip has the uttama sanya, uttama purushaha. Prasya padam is ekavachanam. So that was used because there is the aham padam is implied over here. Aham is implied. On the other hand, yavadetan nirikshayam yodhukaman avasthitan kairmaya saha yodhavyam asmindrana samudyame. Here it is sakshat. It is nirikshayam. Aham is already here. Explicitly, expressly used. Then of course you're going to get the Uttam Purushasya. In this case, Ekavachanam, because Aham is Ekavachanam. So you get Ekavachanam. So one more time, if Asmad is used in the sense implied by the Lakara is Kartari, then let's say Aham Tvam Pashyami. Aham Tvam Pashyami. Now you have both Yushmad and Asmad now. But Pashyami, the Laka is Kartari Arthe. Who's the Karta here? Aham Tvam Pashyami. So Aham, the Asmad is the Karta. Aham is the Karta. So even though both Yushmad and Ashmad are in the same sentence, they're both close by, but it, the Lakara use Kartari. The Karta is Asmad. Yushmad is there. It's not the Karta, but so that will not dictate the Purusha of the Zat. Only Asmad will dictate. It has to be Samadhikarane. So that is about Madhyamaha and Uttamaha. Now what about by the one small detail is that the Asmad is a Parakaryam. Okay, Asmad is a Parakaryam. So now let's say you have a dual form which says that Aham cha, Svam cha. What do you say? You say Gacha. You say you should use the Madhya Purusha. You use Uttam Purusha. Because Asmad Uttamaha is Parakaryam. You should say Gachavaha. Gachavaha. So sometimes if you have a combined karta, two kartas, why are Bhavan Bhavati? Okay, I'm coming to that, Yulia. Okay. Yulia's question is, why is Bhavat Prajapati when you have that, then why do you use Pratham Purusha? We come to that in a second. We come to that. Anyway, the small point here is if in case you have a clash, where there is a karta in, let's say, Yushmad, the karta Asmad also is there. Aham cha tvancha. Aham, you can say this Aham tvancha, you can say only one cha is enough. Aham tvancha, but then Aham will dominate. Aham will dominate because this is a Parakaryam. So you should say Gachavaha. Gachava, two of us are going, but in the Uttam Purusha. So now we found when to use Madhyama, when to use Uttamaha. How about the Sheshe Prathamaha? Sheshe Prathamaha. Remaining cases, Pratham Purusha has to be used. Now, Yulia's question, what about Bhavat? Sounds like you. Say, Bhavan, Agachatu Bhavan. Please come, sir. So that English, it sounds like a respected you. But Panini is very clear. Only if Yushmad Pratipadikam is there, referred to by the Dhatu, then only Madhyamaha. So Bhavat is not Yushmad. This is a Pratak Shabda, a different word. So even though the meaning is you, sir, if you say you, sir, may you, the sir, come. If you want to be English translation, so that's the reason. So the reason is this, Yulia, is that Panini says only Madhyama can only be used when you have Yushmad in connection with the verb, and Uttama can only be used when you have Asmad. The Bhavat doesn't fall any of these two. Doesn't fall any. So I think it comes in the Devi Mahatmyam. Bhavan Bhuvi Bhavishyati. Bhavan Bhavishyati, towards the end of Devi Mahatmyam. Last few verses. I think Bhavan Bhuvi Bhavishyati. Bhavan Bhavishyati. Bhavishyati. Pratham Purusha. Yes, because Bhavan is not Asmad or Yushmad. So it doesn't qualify for either Madhyama or Prathama. Then Sheshe Prathamaha. Sheshe Prathamaha. So if it's not Asmad connecting with the verb, Yushmad connecting with the verb, then that's it. Anything, this is a very large domain. Very large domain. So anything else, you have to use only these three, which is Tip, Tajjeef, Prasapadam, or Ta, Atam, Ja. So now you know why. In the majority of the cases, in the vast majority of cases, you'll only have these three. Tip, Tajjeef, Ta, Atam, Ja. Within that, of course, Prasapadam is more common. Kartari, I'm talking Kartari now. Always be careful. Kartari. In passive, only these three, of course, you'll have. The passive only you will have these Atmanipadam. So these are the most common ones because only if Yushmad is not there, Asmad is not in connection with the verb, then there's not going to be anything else, only Sheshe Prathamaha. Sheshe Prathamaha. So far what do we have now? If we're talking about an action like, like Bhavati, Saha Bhavati, Devo Bhavati, Ramo Bhavati, whatever, Mandiram Bhavati, Vanam Bhavati, Shala Bhavati, anything you can say. Gruham Bhavati, Gramo Bhavati, you can say Panthaha Bhavati. Something is. These are none of these are Yushmad or Ashmad. You can say Aham Bhavami, Tvam Bhavasi. But anything else is going to be only Tip. This is a table which is given here. Again, thank you to Radha for making the nice tables. Prathama Trikaha, the first set of three in the, this is the Parasyapadam. You have Tip Tajji, we already went through that. Dvitiya Trikaha, we have Sip Tastha. Titiya Trikaha, we have Mip Vasmas. And then Atmanipadam, similarly, we have Ta, Atam, Ja as the first one. It's Pratham Purusha, it's called. And the Thas, Atam, Dhvam. This is the Madhyam Purusha. And Id, Vahi, Mahi, Uttam Purusha. Now comes a very important sanya. Very, very important sanya. Very, very important sanya. Why very important? Because it gives the Adharaha. for bahuni karyani. Etadadhara rupani. Etadadharani bahuni karyani vidhiyante. There are many, many operations which depend on the sanya of sarvadhatukam, and there's one more sanya which says ardhadhatukam. We see only one today, ting shit sarvadhatukam. Very, very important sanya, ting shit sarvadhatukam. So we're going to see a sutram today. I think if we have another 5 minutes, is the sutram called kartari shap, anuruti of sarvadhatuke. Sarvadhatuke, only Satvika follows. Which we see a sutram today if you have time, which is this one, sarvadhatuka, ardhadhatuka yoho, and the 7384. So there are many, many operations, many, many rules. Just like we had the sarvanama sthana sanya and all that, there, we have the ting shit sarvadhatukam, ting shit sarvadhatukam. Ting, what is ting? We already saw those 18 adesha in place of la, which can be 18 ashtadasha adesha, which is tipta, ji, etc. up to the idvahi. So these 18 which is actually adesha in place of la, the pratyaya, the la is the pratyaya, lat, etc. These comes as adesha. So sthanivad adesha nal vidhau. So sthanivad adesha, which means they give the sanya pratyaya also. The tip is an adesha given in place of la. Now, la had the pratyaya sanya because the vartamani lat is prescribed this pratyaya parascha. So tip will also get the pratyaya sanya by the sthanivad bhava. So these 18 pratyayas, the ting pratyahara means all these 18, tipta, ji, sipta, sta, mipas, masta, atam, shat, hasatam, zam, midvahi, mahing. All these 18, and as well as anything which has the talavya shas in it, shitaha, they get the sanya of sarvadhatukam. Sarvadhatukam, very, very important. Please mark this. Ting shit sarvadhatukam. Ting shit sarvadhatukam. Ting shit sarvadhatukam. Next sutram is ardhadhatukam shesha, which we will not see today. But one important thing over here, mind you, is that this one is ting shit sarvadhatukam, which has to be dhatu with vihitaha. So it has to come after dhatu, ting shit sarvadhatukam, but this has to come after a dhatu. Ting shit sarvadhatukam is two sanyas, sarvadhatukam and ardhatukam are only if dhatu with vihitasya. So it is, if you have pratyaya like sip, pratyaya like vatup, they don't come after dhatu. There will be neither sarvadhatukam nor ardhadhatukam. But if the pratyaya is prescribed as dhatoho, then immediately will go either in one basket or the other. One more time. This is a pratyaya which prescribes dhatoho. That time we have vartamane lat, which is 3 to 123. Anuruti of dhato is coming down there in vartamane lat. So that being the case, lat pratyaya, when it starts, it's going to have the sanya of ardhadhatukam because of ting shit sarvadhatukam. Lat is neither a thing nor does it have the talavya shas in it. You get the sanya ardhadhatukam. But when the tip adesha comes, the tip will have the sanya of sarvadhatukam. Ting shit sarvadhatukam. It should be dhatu with vihitasya. When we are studying this sutra before, like sojas, etc., that is not in the dhatu adhikaraha. So those will be neither sarvadhatukam nor ardhadhatukam. Only when it is prescribed to dhatu, by specifically saying dhatoho. That's why we talk about why dhatu is important to us. The beginning of the class talked about dhatu starting from 317 has a dhatoho. That's one sutram. Then from 3122 onwards to the end of the third chapter. So all of these pratyaya, that 317 or from 3122 to end of the third chapter, they will fall in one of these two baskets, sarvadhatukam or ardhadhatukam. Very, very important. One more time, if the pratyaya either the 18 ting pratyaya which we've been seeing in the class today, or anything which is talavya, then it gets the sanya of sarvadhatukam. And remaining as a default get ardhadhatukam. Let's not go there, they have some complications there. But right now for us, ting shit sarvadhatukam. So what do you have so far? Blu plus lat, bhu plus la anubandha lope, then bhu plus tip we got with vivaksha yavas pratham purushasya ekavachanam, and because bhu did not have any lakshanam for taking apanipadam, sheshat kartari parasmapadam. Now comes another very, very famous sutram, kartari shap. Kartari Shap. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a bit fast today because we have a 3-week break now. We got a 3-week break after this. So let me complete this one thing and then we'll stop in about 5 minutes. So Kartari Shap. We'll get plenty of examples, don't worry. You're going to get plenty of examples coming to you next 3 weeks. So Kartari Shap, which is that Kartra tre sarvadhatuke pare dhatoho shap. So if it is used in the pratyaya has been used Kartari arthe, and it's pratyaya with sanya of sarvadhatukam. Both are very important conditions. Both are very important conditions. Like a form like bhavishyati. There's no pratyaya which is sarvadhatuka sanya there. I shouldn't say that. The pratyaya here doesn't have sanya of sarvadhatukam, doesn't get shap. So for Kartari shap to come, there should be a pratyaya which is sanya of sarvadhatukam, and it also should be used Kartari. If it's in the passive, shap will not come. One more time, Kartari shap. Kartarthe sarvadhatuke pare. Kartari, don't forget the sarvadhatuke pare. Dhatoho shap. What do you have right now? You have bhu plus tip. Vivaksha, we also we're doing Kartari prayoga right now. So tip is used Kartari. It has a sanya of sarvadhatukam, but things is sarvadhatukam. So Kartari shap has to come now. Kartari shap. So shap comes after the dhatu. If the pratyaya following has been used Kartari, and it has a sanya of sarvadhatukam, which is the Kartari shap anuvritti of sarvadhatuke. Comes from the prior sutram sarvadhatuke Kartari shap. So now we have a situation of bhu shap tip. So shap came because tip was used Kartari, sanya of sarvadhatukam. So iko guna vriddhi is a paribhasha sutram. Why do we need that? Because we're going to use the next sutram which we are going to talk about a guna adesha. So when Panini talks about a guna adesha, vriddhi adesha, without specifying the specific sthani, without telling you which specific letter or group of letters, that is samanya vidhanam, says do guna for this angam. Then the word ikaha is implied there. So guna vriddhi shabdabhyam yatra guna vriddhi vidhiyete. When Panini prescribes a guna or vriddhi using the word guna or vriddhi respectively, a specific word guna has to be used, specific vriddhi has to be used, but he doesn't tell you what sthani. Which letter to do guna for? Which one to do guna for? Then only the ik will qualify. Only the ik. Tatra ikaha iti shashtyantam padam upatisthate. So when look at the next sutram, sarvadhatuka ardhatuka yoho. Pani says do anayoho parayoho iganta sangasya gunaha. Pani says just to gunaha. So when you have an angam which is followed by pratyaya, which has either the sanya of sarvadhatukam or ardhadhatukam, do guna adesha. That's all what Panini said. Didn't tell you for which letter. But only the iks will qualify. Ikaha iti upatisthate. So when one more time, iko guna vriddhi is only it's a paribhasha sutram. So when there is a vidhanam of guna or vriddhi without the sthani being specified, and the word guna or vriddhi is specifically used to do to use the vidhanam, then in that case only iks will qualify for that operation. So what sutram we have right now is sarvadhatuka ardhadhatuka yoho is telling us this angasya adhikaraha. If an angam is followed by a pratyaya which is a sanya of either sarvadhatukam or ardhadhatukam, then by the way, a pratyaya cannot be both, okay? Cannot be both. Be one or the other. So when he says it can be one or the other, anyone follows, then do the guna adesha. Of course, alontyasya, the ending of the angam will take guna, but again, ikaha. So igantasya angasya gunaha. So when igantasya angasya came, because iko guna vriddhi, because Pani did not say which one takes guna, then only, he means only the ik. So that now what do we have with that? We had bhu shap tip, that bhu will become bho now. By sarvadhatuka ardhadhatuka yoho, bhu becomes bho. By the guna adesha, of course adeng gunaha. Then we remove the it letters from the shap by the leshaka tadjite halankyam, and we do echo yavaha gets bhavati. So now you realize how all the sandhi operation was in the beginning itself. They're very fundamental when the sounds come in contact. Then no matter what pratyaya you're doing, you have to do sandhi operations. So this is now going to be bhavati. So one more time with dhatu bhu, kartari arthe, vivaksha was pratham purushaha, it was ekavachanam, and because dhatu bhu does not have any asaripada lakshanam, sheshat kartri paraswami padam, so pratyaya tip was chosen among the 18 which Parasya Padam, which is Pratham Purusha, third person in English, Pratham Purusha, Ekvachanam. And because of Kartari Shab, this Kartari Arthe, Shab came in here. So both of these have the Sanya of Sarvadhatukam because of Ting Shit Sarvadhatukam. This because it's a Ting, this one got a Sanya of Sarvadhatukam, and this got Sanya because of Shit got Sanya of Sarvadhatukam. So both have a Sanya of Sarvadhatukam. This is because of Ting Shit Sarvadhatukam. This is part of Ting Pratyahara. This has Talaveshwas in it. Becomes Ting Shit Sarvadhatukam, will become Bhavati. Because of course then do Anubandha Lopa for the Shap and the Tip, Halantyam, Halantyam, Yashakvatadite. Then you use Sarvadhatuka, Ardhadhatuka Yoho, and then Echo Yavayava Bhavati. Bhavati is the first verbal form. Bhavati means he, she, it, somebody third person is. Bhavan Bhavati, you can say Acharya Bhavati, Graham Bhavati, Sampradaya Bhavati, whatever, except Yushmad Asmat. Anything else, anything else. This is called Pratham Purusha, third person in English. Now we are running out of time. So I'm going to give you some homework now. Give some homework. Now, the next form, we say tip tasji, if you look at the, so when you form the angam, this will be a common operation now. The shab coming in here, doing the guna, and doing, the echoyavayavas, this angam bhava will be common now, no matter what you do. No matter what pratyaya, whether it's tip or tas or ji, or we have the, sip, tas, tha, this is going to be common operation. This is bhava, is going to be common operation, you bhava. If you can look at the next pratyaya, I'm going to give you some homework and stop now. Is that if you look at the pratyaya, tas become bhavataha. When you come to bhava plus ji, you need sutram, the ja becomes anta by jontaha. Take that for homework, please. Jontaha for homework. We'll do in the next class in detail. We're out of time now. So jontaha become bhavanti. So the ja becomes ant, and then you do the atogune. You get bhava, bhava, anti. Because ji becomes anti. G becomes anti, the jakara becomes anta. So you get bhava, anti, do atogune, becomes bhavanti. So it becomes so bhavati, bhavataha, bhavanti. Then bhavasi, nothing special. Bhavataha, then bhavatha in the middle person. In the Uttam Purusha, English first person, we get another one last rule again for homework. Take these two for homework. Take Joanta for homework and take Ato Dirgho Yi for homework. You already seen the Sutram Supicha. You already seen Supicha. This is the prior one. Anuvrutti of Sup was going to Supicha. We saw Supicha like in Ramaya, etc. Ramaya, Ramabhyam, we saw Supicha, right? So Ato Dirghoyi, Anuvrutti is coming on Ato Dirghoyi, Adantasyangasya. But this has the condition of Sarvadhatu, Ke Ato Dirghoyi. So if you have a letter of the Yayi Pratyahara from Javai, from starting, so Ato Dir, from Hayavarat up to Javai, includes all the nasals. Then if you have that, then the Ato Dirgho, Yayi says for homework for you, is Adantasyangasya Dirghos, Dirgha Adesha Syat, Yayadav Sarvadhatu, okay, becomes Bhavami. Not because you Bhava Mip. The Makara is a Yayi. Mukha is a Yayi. Angam is Bhava. Bhava is Adantam Angam. For Pratya, the Mip has Sanya of Sarvadhatukam. Always check all the conditions. The Mip has Sanya of Sarvadhatukam. You have Adantam Angam in Bhava. Ato Dirgho Yayi. Ato Dirgho Yayi will make it Bhavami. Then become Bhavavaha. Bhavamaha. So these two, we'll repeat this next time. We'll start with Joantaha and Ato Dirgho Yayi. We'll do in detail next time again. But please take them for homework and please follow the examples. So let's stop with that. Time is up. We'll come back in 15 minutes for Ramayana. Come back in 15 minutes. Today again is April 23rd. Tatamo Bhagaha. And this is the Tinganta Prakriya. Adya Arabdha. We start Tinganta Prakriya today. So for the next year and a half, hope you'll enjoy this. This is get to the top of the Vyakaranam hill. In a year and a half, we hope to get to the top of the Vyakaranam hill. From there, it will be hopefully be easier from then on. Okay. Mangalacharanam. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Vijay Ramena Bhiyata Nishachara Chamo Rama Tasmai Namaha. Rama Nasti Puranam Parasaram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittale Sada Bhutame Bho Rama Mahamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasanam Tattilyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana On Namayati. Next class is Saturday the 14th of May. So 14th Saturday of May, next class, Saturday, May 14th. 3 weeks holiday. So please practice the examples. Please practice and please give examples. Okay, so class is over.